Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Hawk! Enemy to starboard! All hands, man their battle stations! Ready the main guns! Give them a broadside, they'll never forget! Bringing naval concepts into a first-person shooter based in science fiction. I wonder how this is going to work. Actually, what happened is I was going through my Shadowhawks, trying to figure out what weapons configurations would work best, assuming that I only used the parts I had on hand, and not wanting to spend any more. I came across some interesting observations. I had built pocket battleships. For those of you who may not be familiar, those of you who are, please humor me, a battleship was all about massive firepower and massive armor, at the cost of speed, much like the assault mechs. The cruisers were designed to fill the gap with giving them more speed. So you had lighter weapons, lighter armor at higher speed. Battleships usually mounted 14-inch and up guns. The largest ever mounted was 18-inch guns. Cruisers really couldn't mount anything over 8 inches. Germany, prior to World War II, came across the idea of the pocket battleship. This was basically a cruiser carrying heavy guns. 11-inch guns on a ship capable of high speed and high maneuverability meant whatever could catch it, it could beat. Whatever it could beat couldn't escape. It had the choice of engagement and substantial advantages in other areas. What I discovered with these mechs when I had them going was they could go toe-to-toe with a heavy or assault mech for a short period of time. As long as they were not the major attention getter, everyone pretty much ignored them, going for other mechs that were perceived to be more dangerous. They inflicted tremendous amounts of damage in multiple engagements. So this got me thinking, and I realized that pocket battleship concept may work well. Let me explain more. At the time, the parts I had on hand were 3 XL engines. One 275, another 280, the last one was 300 rating. Put them in the mechs just to see what they would do, and their speed varied between 81 and 89 kph. For their arsenal, I gave them mostly short range. For long range, one of them had 2 large lasers, another one had 1 large laser and a AC-2. The third one I made into a missile boat, but that's a little bit different story. I'll get to that in a minute. For short range arsenal, they varied between, basically I just gave them SRM-2 streaks, machine guns, and medium lasers to fill out any other hard points, and just packed them with as much heat sinks as I could. I was surprised at 2 things. I was surprisingly maneuverable. I was able to really rapidly maneuver around the battlefield, jump around corners, open fire, disengage, almost like having my Cicadia. Obviously a lot slower, almost half the speed. Still, it was pretty agile. With heavies and assaults, I could easily get on them and start firing. As long as I wasn't the main focus, I could devastate them and move on. I maxed out the armor as best I could on the torso. The arms, I gave them a little over 20 to 25. Legs, 20 to 23. You don't see the legging like you used to, so for the most part people leave the legs alone. So I stripped a little armor off that to free up more room for arsenal. And they just seemed to be, I'm reluctant to use the word unstoppable, because clearly they did go down. But even when I went down quickly, I did surprisingly amount of damage. Some of these matches I did 700 damage with them. I was fast enough that I could quickly close. Since I could close quickly, I could put most of their arsenal to short range, which enabled me to do a lot more damage overall. I could really devastate these other forces. I also stumbled upon an interesting strategy. If a group of light mechs ran off, I would give chase, when they would get to a resource or a resource game, conquest, they'd start capping. If an enemy force came upon them, I was usually right behind. They'd start engaging that. I'd come on the scene and just lay waste to them because they're busy focused on these light mechs. All of a sudden I come in to their side or back and just start blowing them apart. In assault, I could flank around very rapidly, following them. There'd be light mechs and they'd run around the sides. Or just on my own, going around the flank. Of course, you have to be careful. You still don't want to be alone. I would often try to keep somewhat close to the formation, but out on the edge. And I could flank around and do tremendous damage to them and really catch the opponents by surprise. So overall, I would say these mech configurations were really effective. As I said, the one had 3 streak SRMs, SRM2s, and I think it had 3 machine guns, and that one I think had the 2 large lasers. I can't remember now off the top of my head which ones had what, but they were really fun to run as well. Getting back to the missile boat version that I made, had a speed of 81. I gave it 3 LRM-5s and 1 LRM-10 with several tons of ammo and 2 medium lasers. These smaller missile racks enabled me a faster reload so I could fire them all at once, and I still put down a pretty consistent volley when needed. The speed of 81 kph enabled me to either keep up with the rest of the force when I was needing to relocate, and they weren't able to quite abandon me to the enemy like so often happens when I run a missile boat. I could easily keep up or relocate if I found myself being isolated or hemmed in. And the 2 medium lasers enabled me to have something to do more effectively against light mechs that did find me. And if I ran out of ammo, I was able to at least continue to fight on doing something. And part of me found it interesting and fun being a missile boat, being able to outrun the mechs that are trying to track me down. Here we have a match where I ran that missile boat, little 55-ton Shadowhawk, and you can tell how fast I'm moving along the field here. You know, it's not really impressive as far as fast mechs go, but 81 kph is not bad. It's a resource game. I'm trying to get to help cap the first resource. So at this point it's not real impressive, but you know, just give it time. I'll skip ahead a little just to save you the trouble of sitting here watching me cap the resource, because that's pretty boring. I actually forgot which mech I was running and got a little closer to the front than I meant to. I flanked on the side and realized, oh wait, I got missiles. Yeah, I got. So we'll start backing away and firing off. You know, basically I can fire volleys of up to 25 missiles. If I hold down the button, it will go and volley. It will to the LRM. Because the LRM-5 will reload slightly faster than the 10, it will basically do a volley of 15, 10, 15, 10. But if I wait and fire them all at once, it's one volley of 25. So that's not a lot of firepower. But the fact that I can deliver so much in so rapid response is really what makes this mech such an effective tool. See, a little light mech got hold of me, or thought he was. So I got some. I both have help and my medium lasers. Start firing back on the attacker. Double check. Okay, you got that taken care of. Alright. And another one runs by. I'm just trying to focus on the bigger mechs to do damage. Right now we're behind on the points. I know I need to hurry up and get this resource going. Try backing away to get a better arch down on the target, see if that helps. I found with LRMs it actually works better if you're at longer range. Closer range they're able to hide behind things a little bit better. You don't get the longer range, they seem to come more down on the target. I'm sure the people out there who run missile boats are like, "Duh, come on, man, don't you know?" No, I don't know. I don't really like missile boats. The only missiles I've become
New target
somewhat
acquired.
fond of running are Streak SRM-2s when I have them paired with machine guns or medium pulses or something that's equally short range. That's about the only thing I've really become per se fond of.
New target acquired.
So if people can spot some more targets for me, I'll get back to bombarding.
New target acquired.
A pretty sizable enemy force came around on this resource on the side, as well as ours, so it was an interesting little matchup. I like it when this happens because you're able to give a better test of how well this mech and its configuration will run. You might have to do 10 or 15
Target
matches
acquired.
before you're really able to get a good assessment, because you have to run it on a hot map, a cold map, a heavy brawling situation, etc. Just to see, make sure you understand how it will perform in all the different situations. And start doing some longer range bombing
New target acquired.
using my range, but that helps me guys up on
Ammo
top.
at 25%.
See, if I hold down the button, I get a little bit of a chain fire effect with the two different timing, how the missiles go. I think this is going to come back and give me a hard time, but he seems to be having a harder time. Leg's about to go.
Warning, incoming missile.
Who's going to go first, his leg or his torso?
Ammo depleted.
At any rate, jump ahead, start capturing the back resource. Group of mechs come upon me. I'm out of ammo at this point. Battered survivors over here trying to take on the last of them. And it's kind of a last stand on both sides. Two medium lasers make a pretty nice paired
New target
thing. I
acquired.
just one-shot killed that dragon. I am so bad. Yeah. I also did have a anti-missile system in all three of the configurations. It worked quite well.
Destroyed. New target acquired.
Catapults. I might not have any weapons left. May have just had alarms and ran out of ammo. I was content to try to chase him around, or make me chase him. Oh, I guess he does have some medium lasers. I'm just tearing through what's left of the enemy force. They're all beat up, probably as beat up as I am. And that's where it ends on points. We won. I actually did over 350 damage, 368 if you want to know the exact number of damage. But what's more impressive to me is 2 kills, 6 assist kills with a 368 damage. That's pretty darn good for a missile boat. I mean, that's quite a bit of harassment to all these other units. And to make a heroic last stand like that, it makes it pretty well-rounded, I would say. You know, we are talking about a 55-ton mech. Obviously, an assault mech or even a heavy would perform a little bit better in some of these situations. Anyway, here's another match I was in. This is running the one with the autocannon and large laser. I'm sorry about the miking problems. I'm sure it's all over the place, sounding like I'm going from all over the airing. I did a little bit of scouting ahead, then I just paused to try to give my team a chance to catch up with me. I wanted to see if I could figure out what direction they were coming at me. Start picking up some shots on some of their scouts and positions. Basically trying to stay as unnoticed as I can and pick shots at them. See this catapult coming up here, and I just figure I better go toe-to-toe with him, hoping that he's got a long-range arsenal. And he tries jumping. Yes, I know about the jump armor thing, and I probably shouldn't have wasted my shots on him, but I did anyway out of the excitement of the moment. And he's down. 55-ton just went toe-to-toe with a 65-ton and won. Then I move up over here and take some other shots. Seeing that they're not coming around behind us. Try just doing some more longer range arsenal at them. The force that we were facing is... I don't think they were quite as together as we were as far as concentrated force. But I got a group of them up here that I'm having to contend with. And not most of the other members of my team are below, but not all of them. And I just scoot out, take some shots, get a few targets, etc., and then try to scoot back around a corner, trying to minimize damage. Keep things spotted for them to keep peppering with shots. And I believe this one had 2 SRM-2s and 2 machine guns. I could be wrong on that off the top of my head. 1 AC-2, 1 large laser. Was going toe-to-toe with this awesome. Granted, I'm having another fire come in to help support me. But it cannot contend with my arsenal and goes down. Pressing on the flank a little bit more. Again, trying to conceal my position with terrain, trying to do a little bit of scouting, peek around, see what's here, what's not. Ooh, there's an Atlas. Another fun thing to fight. And I charge in because to withdraw would be a little difficult. Hoping to use my mobility to get around behind him and keep his attention. Then I start going after this guy. Go down. But that's over 550 damage. That's not bad. The amount of damage this configuration and style of mech can inflict is actually quite impressive. In conclusion, I'm of the opinion that a medium mech with a focus on speed and firepower can be very effective and downright devastating in a support role. With fast, lighter mechs, it can be a great asset in increased firepower. And among heavier, slower mechs, it can be great as a scout and reconnaissance support role mech. As long as it's not the main attention given. If it starts taking a lot of fire, you simply won't have the armor to endure and you will go down horribly. But that said, you can still make a great show of yourself. That's it for now. Until next time, game on.